I'm talking here about professionals, and I've seen a lot of big blunders when people are trying to go pro, and then it's like, yeah, I'm just going to take a couple of $100, spin it up, and then I will turn pro. Usually it doesn't work out. Let's crush. I receive a lot of questions around this topic here and there, and I think it's a great opportunity to make a video around it. But before I jump into it, I really encourage you to take the time, think about, reflect, and what is it that you struggle with on your journey as becoming a professional poker player, or what are you afraid of? Maybe you have a question, maybe you have a comment, let me know in the comments. I can take my time to read through it, maybe make a separate video if there are some questions coming up that I'm not covering in this video. But please take your time. Don't ask questions like, how do I make more money? It should be a little bit more specific so I can really put myself in your position, take your perspective, but because these kind of generic questions are really hard to answer and always takes a little bit more time on getting into the details. So yeah, feel free to use the comment section. And yeah, let's get right into it. Before I want to kick it off, I want to talk a little bit more about the two different aspects of becoming a poker pro. There are, of course, the strategic side of things to become good, to understand the game. And then there's more the environment around it. And I want to kick it off with the environment, because when you want to become a poker pro, you want to be in an environment that provides you the best odds, the best chances to become a poker pro. And it always starts with our relationships. Usually people don't really understand, and I think that's probably the biggest obstacle, right? Especially when you're a little younger, you still live at home, or you rely on your parents, or you have a girl or boyfriend, that you have the people on your side that you surround yourself with, or that you're around with a lot. Maybe the people, your family that you live with, or your spouse, or whatever. So it needs to, I think having this conversation is crucial, to tell them about your plans, to also educate them a little bit about what is it about in poker, that it's not just gambling, that you can become a pro, that you can make a living out of it. Speaking about a pro, of course, we also need to define what means to become a professional poker player. Everyone has a different definition. For me, it's when you reach a point that you can live from it, that you can on a constant basis withdraw money that you can use for your living, you can do it full time, that does not harm your bankroll, that you really have a comfortable situation, that you can also endure downswings that last multiple months. This is where we have the definition of becoming a pro. And now let's keep talking a little bit about the environment. So as I said, setting it up where you get the people on board. And now you might wonder, well, my parents don't understand. My boyfriend doesn't understand what I'm trying to do. Or my best buddies, they laugh at me. Well, at some point, you also got to accept that there will be people laughing about you. There are people that do not agree what you're trying to do. And that's just how it is. With everyone trying something that is a bit more outside of the box, it can happen, or it's actually really likely that people are gonna be disagreeing with you. They're gonna impose negativity on you, so to speak, naysayers. And you just gotta accept the fact. And I think whenever you try something and you don't have naysayers, it might not be bossy enough, right? I also had people not believing in me. I also had people laughing about me when I told them, wow, I wanna do the same as my friends do. Back then, I got very inspired from my friends. I want to become a poker pro. This is what I want to pursue after my studying. And including my family, it was not that they weren't agreeing with me or they tried to stop me, but they weren't necessarily supporting me either. And I also had some people that were laughing about me. And that's totally cool. That's normal. I mean, it's not cool, but you got to accept that. Now, then you need to decide for yourself and also tell them, listen, this is what I want to do. You're either with me or you're not. And you got to step up. All right. Don't try to convince them with your words, though. Convince them with your actions. Just do it. At some point, they might realize, oh, wow, he's really serious. This is how you convince people, not with your words. You're just wasting your time. Of course, you should try it once or twice, have that serious conversation, and be very, very strict and straightforward and tell them, this is what I want to do, and explain them. You also need to have a bit of empathy. I mean, to be honest, the people that are in your family or in your circle of friends, they love you, they care about you. And if you don't know anything about poker, it might sound dangerous. They think you might be losing all your money. Explain them, calm them down. You have to invest first. Put your ego aside. Don't be like, oh, they don't understand me, they're just naysayers. No. But at some point, if they're still laughing about you and not taking you serious, well, then make it clear. Well, this is what I want. If you're not with me, sorry. And it doesn't matter if it's your parents, your friends. This is your life, and you have to put that at first and not your parents will that you want to become, or that you're supposed to become a doctor. This is very, very important. And I understand this might be the most painful step, because you're being ridiculed at, you're being laughed at. But if this is what you really want, you have to go through it. And you will also see the people that are really believing in you. You're going to see your real friends. You're going to see the family members that really care about you. You might say, but Ben, we always have to, listen to our moms and dads. Well, no, you have to put your life at first. And then you will see the people that are supporting you in your journey. And you can still have a good relationship with your mom and dad, but just when it comes to poker, you're going a different path. I'm not, cut all the ties and never see your parents again. Don't get me wrong. But this is where you have to step up, take responsibility, and go the journey that you want to go. I mean, this is really the step when you decide for yourself, okay, for 1 year, I put some money aside. I'm going to be grinding full time. I'm going to quit my job. And then there's also the alternative. This is the way I did it. A little bit on the side, seeing where it goes. That's also fine. A few hours here and there, see what is possible and see if it's something for you. But at some point, you will reach the step where you reach a limit, right? Because you will start competing against people that play full time. And the higher the stakes, the more you have to invest, the more you have to study. And at some point, if you want to become a full-time pro, this is what I would recommend. You can still do things on the side, grind here a little bit, then you can do it recreationally or for fun, or maybe be so good that you can have a little side income. But I'm only trying to talk about here when it comes to turning pro, making this as a full-time job. This is where you then ultimately will have touching points with your family or friends. You have to tell them, hey, I can't come to this birthday party because I'm doing this thing, or you have to quit your job or whatever. And you have to, of course, or you should be telling it your friends, because also, and this is why it's important to talk to at least to the closest circle. You don't need to go out of the world and tell anyone, but you will be in miserable states, right? We all know the downswings, how hard they can be. So it's going to be really swingy in terms of your mood. So to tell them, hey, listen, sometimes, there might be days where even though I have time, I just don't want to see anyone. I just want to be at home, maybe just have a day or two for me. Don't take it personal. Right? It's all about the communication, because then they will also understand. You also need to understand that things might appear different from their perspective. They might perceive you as that douchebag is now working on his goals, being arrogant, thinks he's better, now he doesn't have time for me, right? But if you tell them, listen, I just feel like dog shit. Sorry, I didn't want to bother you with my negative mood because I care about you. I don't want to say anything stupid. It's a completely different communication that you're going to have. So, but if they know that, it's like, hey, in advance, you're going to be telling them, hey, I want to do this thing, and if they want to support you, please, I try my best, but there might be days or weeks where I'm not going to be, reaching out. Please don't take this as that I don't like you, I don't love you, especially if you live with someone, if you live with your girlfriend or boyfriend. Talk about this. It's something I have to admit I really suck at as well, because I try to just, let's push it through. I have this kind of mentality, you're a man, you have to be strong. And I don't think that's the right way. I think it's a lot about communication. Whenever I'm communicating as much as possible with my girlfriend, if I have bad days, and instead of saying, yeah, I was all right, but I actually deep inside, I know, I feel terrible because I had a losing session and I just want to let some steam off. Don't come up with bad beats. Just, okay, I feel terrible. I had a bad session. I hate poker, That's good. It will get easier. And then also my girlfriend understands me, right? So you see, it's a lot about communication. It's key. This is probably the most important pillar in your environment. Then the second pillar when it comes to your environment is are your finances. Listen, poker is not there to solve your financial problems. If you have financial problems, that's gonna be a big pain for you sooner or later. You want to play poker when you're in a financially comfortable situation, which you might not be in, but you can work you towards being financially comfortable. And I'm talking about not being in debt or not trying to, get some money so you can buy that luxurious watch. So when you're in a situation where you might save up some money, do that first. Have a financial plan. I mean, if I want to speak about it, I probably have to make separate videos on depending where you live. If you live in Switzerland, 6-7K might be already the minimum that you need per month. If you live in a, I don't know, Southern American country or Eastern European country, there, of course, the requirements for living, you need less money. It's just as it is. It's a fact. I'm not trying to be racist, but that's just pure facts, no way around it, right? So the living costs are going to be changing tremendously. So you need to first check for yourself, what is the minimum amount of money that I need for rent, for food, extra expenses, and so on and so forth. How much money do you have at hand? Is it like, do you have an additional 1K, 2K, 5K that you can take and just purely take it for poker? That's the money that you can have as your bankroll, right? Again, you might still want to have some extra money that you want to save up in case something happens. You have to be incredible, responsible, and diligent with your money. All right, plan it for years. Like, okay, even if it's $100 box, then you start with 50-cent limits or $1 limits. Around 100, 200 buy-ins. I probably make a separate video on bankroll management, and you find enough information around bankroll management. Long story short, you want to have saved up enough money so you can also endure downswing. You don't want to have a $100 bankroll and then play $50 tournaments. You want to be able to endure a downswing that even can go multiple weeks and you're not going broke, or at least even if you lose your bankroll, it's not going to be crushing your life. And also be very responsibility if you hit an upswing right away. Oh my God, I have heard stories. It's crazy when people score something for $300, $400 and then they start playing $20 limits and increase their buy-ins by 20 times. So this is something you don't want to do. Whenever you start out, make a very thorough plan. What stakes are you going to play? What is your limit? I would always recommend, if you have $100 at your disposal, start with 50-cent tournaments. You just grind them, $1 tournaments, even some free rolls. And please do not move up in stakes, since poker tournament poker is very heavy in variance. If you bink a tournament that you think, oh, now I can move up. Wait at least 1,000, better 2,000 tournaments. And if you have a positive win rate, and I'm talking about at least 10%, 15% ROI, then move up to $2 to $5 tournaments. Yes, this sounds very slow, but especially the first couple of months. It's really just about getting into that kind of like full-time grind. Of course, you can use that information on my tips also if you want to play on the side. Bankroll management is the most important thing when it comes to playing poker, because even if your mindset is dog shit, at least your bankroll management will allow you not to go broke. If you have a good mindset, but you have a bad bankroll management, it's going to backfire a lot. So I would always recommend start with 100 buy-in bankroll management. Don't try to play a lot of hyper and turbo tournaments. Play the normal freeze out, non-PKO, just to learn the game, get into it, get familiar with pre-flop ranges, maybe play 1 or 2 tables, 3 tables. It really depends where you are, right? You might be already at a level where you grind mid-stakes and you just want to have a few takeaways because you struggle making this step towards becoming a full-time pro. Maybe you have neglected this number one rule of having your family on your side, or at least speaking to your closer circle of friends and family. So here, not everything might be applying for you, but that's totally okay. Move forward, speed up the YouTube video. Probably most of you guys are doing it anyway, but I would always recommend 100 to 200 better 200 buy-in limits or bankroll management, and then you set yourself some stop loss. So let's say if you play, you have $200 and you start with $2 tournaments, that you say, okay, if you reach the $100 limit, you go down to $1 limits, right? So you maintain that 100 buy-in limit. So whenever you reach the new 100 buy-in limit, then you move down in stakes. And it's very important to get in a good sample size on the current stakes you're playing, that it really shows, hey, you're beating it. You can use SharkScope or tracker programs where you can track your results. Very important. I'm going to be talking about this in a few minutes. I'm not going too deep into the softwares and how they're being utilized. There are a lot of tutorials, and I can make a separate video on that, but you need a couple of programs that you need to set up in order to be able to track your results, to also track your hands so you can study with them. And ideally, the bankroll management can really just seen as an investment. If you invest money into stocks, unless you sell it, you have no access to it. It should not conflict your daily expenses, monthly expenses. It should not put you, oh my God, now if I don't do well this month, then I might have a difficult time to pay your rent. And if it's that case, then you have to wait longer. You have to wait longer in order to save up more money, so you put yourself in a very comfortable situation. Again, poker is not for solving your financial problems. If you intend to go pro, if you just want to play for fun and you just want to, blow off $5, $10 or whatever you can afford, that's up to you, right? This is not the point of this video. I'm talking here about professionals, and I've seen a lot of big blunders when people are trying to go pro, and then it's like, yeah, I'm just gonna take a couple of $100, spin it up, and then I will turn pro. Usually it doesn't work out. You will have these, superstars here and there, like Victor Blom, and you think you can just go and grind low stakes, mid stakes, and someday you will end up being high stakes without studying a lot. I mean, this guy is just a prodigy. So please, please, please don't think you're going to be the same. No, you're not. And take it very responsible. Usually I would plan at least a year that you really learn the game, you play full time until you can expect, and this is a very vague estimation, until you can make a living out of it. Usually I would plan for around 2 years, where you have reached certain stakes. Go with 1.5 to 2 years. I remember back then for me with grinding sit and goes, it took a year from day one, but I also had some poker experience before that. Starting with $1 sit and goes, where I've reached the mid stakes, where I could, withdraw 1K, 2K a month, where I could cover my basic expenses. I wouldn't need to have a day job or side job next to my studying, and I was being able to provide myself. This is, of course, can vary. I have met poker players who achieved this after 6, 7, 8 months, but this is the rarity, or this is very rare. Usually I would plan with around 2 years. But again, this is this time when I've seen people were trying for 3, 4, 5 years. I mean, it really depends on how well you run as well. Variance comes into play. So don't be like, okay, in 1 year I'm going to be pro. I think having 1 year, saving up for 1 year, giving it a try, seeing where it goes, and even if you lose the bankroll, it doesn't affect or doesn't impact your journey outside of poker. So that's very important, and then I think you can give it a try. I don't want to get too deep into it, but of course you want to approach it from a very holistic standpoint. Having a workout plan, taking care of your mindset, ideally meditating or journaling, like being able to reflect on things, setting up goals and reflecting every month. I wouldn't do it like, it's not supposed to take hours every day, 5 to 10 minutes every day, or you do it 3, 4 times a week, 5 to 15 minutes every day. Start slow, build this habit. Don't try, I'm going to be meditating 1 hour a day and I'm going to be running 15 kilometers and then I'm only going to be eating green beans and I'm never going to be touching alcohol. I'm going to be stop smoking. Yeah, this is set up for failure. Start slow, my friend. And then from month to month, maybe you can increase the intensity of your workouts or the duration of your meditations. This is really, of course, stuff you need to take into consideration outside of poker. I would call these the soft skills, right? How well you're able to cope with the bad runs, also the good runs. This can also lead to tilt, that you get too overconfident, you stop studying. Set up some rules. I really like when I have a winning session and I review my 10 hands, I always review 15 hands. It's a very good trick to have these standards in play. And I'm not like, oh, but today I feel good, like I will. No, this is my rule. This is non-negotiable. And these are just small rules. It's not like it's going to take me forever, where I'm really not going to have time for this. This is non-negotiable, and you should set up non-negotiable rules for yourself. I have like working out at least 3 times, ideally 4 to 5 times a week. I meditate every day, at least 5 minutes. Even if it's a busy day, I will have those 5 minutes. So just to reflect, to reset, to be really here. And I would have, in your shoes, I would recommend that you have 3, 4 smaller routines that you can do on a daily basis or every second day to help you also manifest a strong mindset. And then, of course, eating clean, sleeping well. I mean, there are enough videos and tips on that. I'm not going to get too deep onto that. It will all impact on your performance, and then you will see where it goes. Now let's get a little bit more to the technical side of things, the poker strategy. It also really depends on your skill level. If you're absolutely new, I would not immediately jump into, okay, I make the decision to go pro, play a little bit, check out some content, try to learn a little bit, just play on the side, see if it's something for you. I've seen that also quite often, where poker players would immediately sign up for, you know, like a long subscription, investing a lot into poker content, just to realize after 3 months, oh my God, this is actually nothing for me. Right? If you've been playing poker on the side, you can really imagine, hey, I want to do this. This is my dream. I want to do this for a living. Then go. So speaking about the software, you want to have a Poker Tracker 4, Hold'em Manager 2, or Hand to Note. Great tools. I think it's a necessity for you if you want to become pro, that you have a tracker program where you can see your results. You have some basic stats on your opponents. Again, I'm not going to get too deep into you, but if you want to create some sort of checklist, this is supposed to be on your checklist. Then some basic calculation tools. I highly recommend Power Equilab, where you can run some basic equity calculations, work with ranges. That's also a great tool. And then an ICM program, either a Hold'em Resource Calculator or ICMizer. We also have discounts for that. Actually, we only have discounts for that, so we are able to also help you out there. Just check the description for ICMizer 2 or Hold'em Resource Calculator. These are the tools that you need to analyze then later on ICM spots, short stack spots, where you can calculate all-in spots, calling all-in spots, rejamming. This is a necessity. I think these three as a basic are enough for now for low stakes and mid stakes. And then later on, once you start doing well on lower stakes, let's say up to $10 limits, and you clearly win on these limits and you make consistent money on a monthly basis, you can start investing into a solver tool, something like simple pre-flop, post-flop, Pyro Solver, Monka Solver, where you can start doing some GTO studying. Of course, it's also up to you. There's great content out there if you want to invest into a course. It really takes you at hand from pre-flop to post-flop, heads up, different stages. I mean, I can highly recommend the Turn Masterclass here, where you will learn a lot. Or if you don't like my face, or you think I'm not good enough, but I beat NL2 cent on stream, so I think I'm able to tell you exactly what you need once I've proven that I can win on NL2 cent. All jokes aside, so I think it's whatever works for you, the way you learn, that you either just you try it on your own. But if you try it on your own, I would highly recommend that you connect with poker players. You can join our Discord, you know, say hi to the community, introduce yourself and your journey, try to connect with poker players, read to some posts on our Discord when people are posting hands, and try to give feedback. Even if you just started, it's totally cool, man. Like, nobody's going to attack you. We have a very positive and supportive environment there. And then also start reaching out to people. Maybe you start building studying groups. Don't be alone on this journey. This is the biggest mistake you can do. Maybe I should have mentioned it at the beginning, but I would consider this more on the strategic side of things, where you can learn from others. Now at the beginning, you might feel a little bit shy. Hey, but this is where jump into the cold water, try to engage with other people around poker, try to really build your army around poker players and being able to connect with like-minded people. That's so key. That's so important. I mean, there are thousands of videos of successful poker players also preaching that. I remember Fedor Holz has been also emphasizing on the fact how important it was to have like-minded people in his life. And I'm pretty sure there are also a lot of poker players who have shared or reported a similar experience. I would not necessarily try to consume too much poker content. I would stick with, let's say, a one poker content creator, if it's with me or who else. Try to really soak up what he's trying to teach, either in his free stuff, YouTube videos, or if you want to sign up for a course or subscription-based model. I think the most important thing is you want to sign up for something where someone is explaining you something. I would not just only rely on software and programs. If you, for example, look up something in Pyro Solver, you only see the results. It's like, remember you were in school in math and you had a teacher, even though you probably didn't get it, but we didn't like it, right? So in poker, it's different. We like poker, so we are happy to listen to someone that is explaining us things. But imagine you would sit in school, in class, and you would have math, and you would only see the results, right? There's like the teacher would come, give you all the solutions, and he's not explaining you how to get there. You have no chance. Like, a lot of us sucked in math anyway. It was really hard, but it at least helped that there was someone explaining us, okay, the why. We would just need to sit down. We just didn't want to sit down and study at home because we hated math, or at least a lot of us. So this is very important when it comes to poker content, that you have someone either in your circle of friends where you can have consistently reviews and they explain you stuff, or you have a course or anything where you have someone that's explaining you the why behind. That's why I'm paired. Again, it's not supposed to be a sales pitch, but this is what I believe in. And of course, this is what I stand up for and say, hey, you need this shit. You need to have someone that is telling you the whys, explaining you the reasons why we want to bluff here, why we don't want to bluff there. Why is this a low frequency bluff? Why is this a high frequency bluff? Why do we want to open raise these hands and call against a 3-bet? Why we do something here, but we're not doing it there? What the fuck? What is happening? It's almost the identical spots, but maybe different stack size, right? So this is where I really, really, really have to emphasize on the fact that you want to have someone. That's why I do it in paired. If you do a quiz, you will either see a written explanation why we do something, or a couple of months ago we also started just adding only videos where you see my shit face explaining the spots in depth. This is how you learn, not just by going through the solutions and not getting why we want to do certain things. This can be misleading, this can be very confusing, and yeah, very often also poker is not like in the theory. So in the real world, people are not folding as much as the solver wants to fold. So you keep doing stupid bluffs on low stakes and mid stakes, and then I get your stupid message on Instagram, oh, Bencb, they're not respecting my raises. Well, you idiot, then stop bluffing and maybe start learning the game and start understanding the why behind stuff. And then you will also understand that, yeah, you probably just don't bluff on lower stakes as much as you do. It's not about playing cool and making these crazy bluffs as they do on high stakes and highlight videos, like literally in highlight videos, and you try to play as cool as they are and you think that's the way it works. No, it does not. Poker is boring. We want to play a boring, simple, straightforward way that will generate you the most money. All right, enough of a rant. This is what I would consider very, very important in the strategic side of things. A few solvers, or not solvers, but a few mandatory programs that are very important. And last but not least, I would also recommend a schedule. So the days that you're grinding, the days you take off, the days you are reviewing and studying. Of course, it can always be a little bit. Try to, again, have some non-negotiable days where you are grinding and studying. And then you have certain times where you could study, you could grind, you could take a day off. Make it a little bit depending on the mood. I really don't like this. I'm going to be grinding 6 days a week, and then, or 5 days and 2 days I'm studying. Also schedule some time to be around with friends, do something you enjoy, to unwind, even if it's just an hour. But again, also leave some time for being spontaneous, for potentially doing something that is seasonal, right? So this is, of course, don't be too strict, too harsh. I've seen so many people setting too ambitious goals and then they fail. You can still spice it up if you feel like, hey, there's some gas left in the tank, let's get in another day of grinding or studying. You can still do it regardless. All right, but don't be too fixed on your schedule. Try also to set your goals and your schedule more in a way that it's focusing on challenge, or let's say tasks that you are only responsible for. Don't to be like, oh, I'm trying to win $5,000 or $1,000 or $100 every week. This is not in your control. Try to set very achievable, controllable goals that it's only you that decides whether you achieve these goals or not. But there's also enough content around goal setting. I don't want to talk here now too long about goal setting. Just put it on YouTube. I've definitely seen really poor schedules and a really poor goal setting. I'm not such a big fan of goal setting. Again, this is where I set up this environment with people that can hold me accountable, with a clear plan, a clear vision where I want to go. And then I have my non-negotiable rules. This is just the way I am, the way I want to be. And then it's just happening. And then the result will take care of itself. That's why setting up this environment is so important, because then you will ultimately grow. There's no way for me to just be lazy for 2 weeks, because I will have people telling me, Ben, maybe not another cookie, maybe another burpee. How about that? So this is where I believe that being in an environment is important. Yeah, goals are okay. See them more as a challenge, of course. And then if you really want that, you're going to be doing the stuff that is necessary anyway. Then when it comes to playing versus studying, I think playing a lot is important, where you get a lot of experience. I would, at the beginning, of course, before your first sessions, probably study a lot, like get a bit of an idea what you want to play, the preflop ranges, maybe some basic postflop concepts, and then play. Get in a lot of experience. You should still review on a weekly basis, maybe 2 or 3 times. I wouldn't do like heavy study sessions of 3-4 hours. It's better like 3-4 times a week, each an hour, but being really there, being really present. I don't want to say studying is overrated. I think the quality of the studying is important. Or if you have a course, let's say you have the tournament masterclass, that you say, okay, I'm going to be watching one video or half of the video, and it's going to be like 30 minutes, whatever. I try to take notes, and then this second half of the video I'm going to be watching the end of the week. So you focus on one area every week. You say, hey, this week I'm going to be focusing on more pre-flop, then on post-flop, but then really try to apply it. Play, review it with a friend, post hands that you struggled with, where you have questions. The interaction is really important, getting the feedback, and then rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat. I'm doing this still 10 years later. Poker is a game that is still so undiscovered, and that's the beauty of the game. I believe it's never going to be fully solved. I mean, already people telling me 5 years ago, oh, poker is dead, poker is solved. No, we're so far away from it. I mean, I'm still updating the tournament masterclass 4 years later. I'm putting in stuff, discovering new stuff, and I think it's going to maintain for the next couple of years as well. So don't worry about that. And if I miss something that you would consider important as well, drop it in the comment. Once again, I can only encourage you to also ask your questions or fears. What are you afraid of stepping into that journey as becoming a poker pro? Might do a follow-up video if I see, oh my God, I missed something really important, just based on my experience, based on the experience of my students and what I read on social media. Of course, I'm putting this video together and hope it has really helped you. I would really do this as a checklist. The first things around your environment, then focusing on the strategical side of things, getting the software, but the financial plan, the relationships, making them aware of what our goals are going to be or what we're trying to intend to achieve in the next couple of months or years. This is, I think, super important. And yeah, hope you guys have enjoyed it, and then see you guys in the next video.